Hi, I'm Euge Valovirta, and this is kind of mixing, recording, production tutorials. You, my dear viewers and subscribers, you've asked me quite a lot to do these kind of videos of the songs I've recorded, mixed, and produced. I'm gonna deconstruct, remix Cyhra, my band's latest single, Ready to Rumble, from our forthcoming third album. If you want to check the song and the video, I'll put links in the description below. It's available on all streaming services, and the video is naturally in YouTube. We're gonna release the next single soon, and if you're watching this a bit later than it is now, the next single is probably already out. But anyway, I'm gonna mix this song again from the scratch, and I'm gonna lead you through what I do, why I do. Let's jump into my DAW. I just imported the raw tracks, drums, guitars, bass, vocals into this session, and I'm gonna deconstruct the mix. First, let's go through the kind of my mix template briefly, how I mix, why, and so on. So I like to mix into different buses. My main bus is the mix bus here, which you can see there's the console 1. It doesn't do pretty much anything on the mix bus. So I have the console 1 on all channels, and it's the SSL Solid State Logix SL4000E channel strip. So I'm using, it's kind of like I would mix with an SSL. And I'm controlling everything with soft tubes, console 1 mixing system, and console 1 faders. And then what I have in the mix was, this is analog, so it's FUCR, it's SSL Fusion and Tegeler Audio Manufactures Creme RC. In the picture, because they are there, you can see how they're set. They've always set like this. So I'm going in, the high pass filter is off, the vintage drive is on, it's set like that in the picture. Then from the insert point, I have the Tegeler connected, and it's before EQ. So after the vintage drive, it goes to the bus compressor, which is kind of like SSL bus compressor. And it's always set attack 10, auto release, 4:1 ratio. The only thing I'm adjusting is the threshold so that I get a maximum like 4 dB of gain reduction on the loudest parts. And the sidechain low cut is 60 Hz, so the compressor doesn't react to kick drum that much. Then it goes to the EQ section, which is a Pultec. I'm boosting 100 Hz 3. Do I know what it is in decibels? No. Does it sound good? Yes. Well, I think this is, when it's 10, it's like 5 dB, so a little bit low end boost. Then same 3 on 12K. Then it goes back to the SSL Fusion. There's the violet EQ, and I usually only have a little bit of tiny amount of 20K, kind of that air. So I'm not using the low end boost when I mix. If I feel when the mix is done that, man, maybe a little bit more low end, then I might use a little bit, but usually not. I really like the Pultec style EQ on the Creme. Then it goes to high frequency compressor, which kind of compresses. You can set the threshold and the XO where I have it on 10K. It kind of smoothens the high end, mainly the cymbals. So you kind of like if you would mix to a tape. Then it goes to the stereo image, the space. It adds a tiny amount of low end to the sides, where there's guitars, and the width, a little bit stereo widening. So my parking lot is a little bit wider. And then the transformer is on. You get the transformer sound, and then it goes out. Then into Vice, Softuse Vice MM limiter, and it's 0 dB. I'm not adding anything, and it's set to punch, completely wet, 75%. I think I usually have it 76, because that's my year, 1976. So it adds a little bit punch already from the get-go to the whole, DAW. Then this limiter, right now I'm boosting 6 dB because we're gonna start with the drums and they're completely dry, so that I don't have to do that much level compensation when I edit this. So when you're watching this, I have edited this in Final Cut altogether. So this is set to -1 dB to true peak detection. So whatever I do, I'm not clipping, I'm not hitting the red lights. This is just a set for safety. And now I want to make the volume a little bit louder. And when I send mixes to clients, you know, usually boost them with this to a commercial level, you know, if they want to compare it to whatever their favorite albums is, how it sounds, so it's around the same level. And this multimeter, that just for me that I sometimes check out that is my, you know, stereo correlation correct, because I use a little bit wider and I check the LUFS and everything. Then this, I'm sending the screen to OBS. So this is just for that, you know, for this purpose. And this is my sound ID reference. As you can see, this is the correction. It's pretty much flat. There's a little bit pump in the low end. So this was how my room was before, because I have a subwoofer. So this is that, and it's so really important to me that when I mix, everything is flat. So this is my room done with a SonarWorks, you know, the microphone. It takes about 30 minutes when you do all this kind of really important, strong recommendation if you wanna really know and hear what you're actually doing without, because you know, if I wouldn't have had this, I would have a huge bump at 100 Hz, which would make my mixes sound probably not too powerful, because I would obviously compensate that 100 Hz boost what I have here in my room, but now I don't have it. I can really trust what I hear from the monitors, which are Yamaha HSH and the subwoofer. And this listen to thing, it's before that, so you hear the audio without my room compensations, because it would probably sound weird to you with my compensation. Here's my FX. Well, let's actually start from how I always set up no matter what I mix. The drums are always first. They're always green. The drum buses are darker green. Then there's the drum FX, always. Then it's bass, always blue. Rhythm guitars, always red. This is actually the order that I mix when I start to mix, I start to go through. Lead guitars, always orange. Melody guitars, always yellow. Then if there's another guitars, whatever, the different colors, but now there's only rhythm, lead, and some melody guitars. Then it's keyboards, then it's vocals. And then lastly, my effects that I can blend in with these, you know, aux, send and returns. And I have these always set like this. There's parallel vocals, there's a little bit compression, Pultec EQ, Dimension D. Let me show you this. It's this. THU Symphonic, you know, Yamaha SPX90 Symphonic, dual harmonizer, soft tube tape echo, that's my basic guitar delay, throw delay for vocals, Waves CLA Epic, just a general room reverb that I use with guitars and whatever if I want to have a nice small room sound. And that's it. Okay, so everything else is muted. I did a little bit breathing, because otherwise this video will be probably several hours long, but I'm trying to keep this that you might learn a lot from this without this being too long. So I just did what I always do. I start with the drums. There's no effects on. The only thing that it's the console one on everything, and when the drive is set at 5 on console, then it acts like a real SSL. You get the analog mojo. If you turn this to off, then it's really clean. There's no coloration, so it's like your basic digital clean DAW. But I always set this from the starting point at 5 and never go under, but many times I increase the drive, so you get a little bit more mojo if you want. On every channels, I just made the balance, rough balance with the drums, how I, you know, that they sound pretty okay. So there's kick in, One kick drum. It was actually, I think, Phil Hillen from SU2 Studios, fantastic engineer. He recorded drums, and our drummer Alex Landerberg played. Fantastic drummer. And this is a combination of a couple of microphones I got from them. It sounds great. Snare top, snare bottom, 4 toms, hi-hat, and usually I also get a different ride microphone, but for this one there wasn't a separate ride track, but it didn't matter because the ride was really audible from the overheads, because Alex is so great drummer, he basically mixes him itself, so I really don't have to do much. Then the stereo track, and I have this gain plugin which is swapped, because this stereo track, when I got it, it was from audience's perspective, and I like to mix usually, and Alex likes to, that the drums are from the drummer's perspective. So I just swapped the stereo so that the toms go like from the drummer's perspective. That's that. Then there's the basses. Now there's two reasons why I use basses. So let's say if I would have 3 kick drums, then when I get the balance from those right, then I just can control the volume with this one fader. So when I got the balance here right, the snare top, snare bottom balance, then it's this volume. And I do a certain processing. I'm gonna show you because it's always the same. Kind of subtle, general, overall. So I have a Pultec EQ. This is Soft Tube's Tube Check. It's always 30 Hz, boost 5, cut 5, 5K, boost 5, the widest bandwidth. So it's kind of like this, you know, mellow smiley face. It adds just a little bit of, you know, warmth and oomph to a kick before I do anything. That's always like this. So I mix into this. Snare bass. That is Soft Tube Summit Audio EQF. It's kind of their take on a kind of program EQ Pultec style. And again, smiley face, you know, sounds a little bit different than Pultec. I mix into this. Toms, nothing at the moment. There might be. Let's take this off, but we'll see. And then I have a small amount of compression. I'm gonna set it how I usually set this. So 2:1 ratio, limit, threshold, slow attack, in the threshold, 28, attack 10 milliseconds recovery, dual mono. This is usually the settings I use on tom bass. I might use this or I might not. Let's take it off for now. Overhead bass, there's nothing. That's just to control the volume for these two. Alright, and then drum bass, ambience bass. Let's take the compressor off. So now there's nothing, no parallel. And then I have parallel drums, where I have the same Arcturias, you know, Neve diode 33609 compressor. It's set pretty much the same than the tom bass compressor. Drum reverb, no reverb. Now I usually use Soft Tube's Tar, and I have a few presets, but now I'm just having a EV drum roll. And then this is Phil Collins Verb. Let's put that off. That's a huge gated snare, but I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna use it on this one. We'll see. Okay, the drums, they sound like this now. You know, just dry drums without any processing, and I always do this with the toms so I don't have to use dial gating. This is faster for me. So whenever there's a tom hit, I cut all the drum tracks at the same place, and then I close it just before the cymbal hits, and you know, as close as possible to this one. Again here, only one tom hit, but everything else is open. There's a large tom thing, so I do this always. Cut, small amount of fade so that it's natural, so that I can EQ the toms the way I can only focus on them. I don't have to worry, because obviously tom mics, there's gonna be snares, especially cymbals, because they're usually quite close to the toms. This way I don't have to worry really about that. And I'm always, here's the cymbal hit, cut before that, so that the tom channels don't have the cymbals. So this is what I do first. I did that already, because, you know. Okay, let's start with the drums. As you hear, it's, you know, sounds good, natural drums, but it isn't really, you know, metal yet. What I usually always do, I start with the ambience mics, ambience bass. This could actually be labeled as room stereo and room bass. Now there's only one stereo track. Sometimes I have more and then they all go to this, but since this is my system, I'm so used to this, I'm using the room bass even though I'm just having a one room track. So let's start with the room bass and how it sounds. It sounds really good. I'm not gonna do any EQing at this point, because I think on the original mix I don't remember that I did anything to this. Just adding a compression, like you heard what you did. The Empirical Labs Mic E is one of my favorites, which I use a lot for room compression. You know, it explodes, and then I just blended in the reverb, and it sends here to make it even a little bit more better. And then, if you saw, I did some gain staging, because to me, and I guess according to Softu's manual, the channel strip acts the best when the incoming signal is between 12 or 6 dB, and sometimes a little bit over. And the EQ, compression, everything reacts, and I needed to boost 2, and then when it hit here, it's yeah, the peaks are between 12 and 6. So okay, the room sounds actually really good now, because this is I always want to hear how the drummer sounds just in the room. And in Alex's case, he basically mixes itself. It's so balanced. Nothing is bothering me. Nothing is harsh. Phil is a great engineer. It's a great drum room, great drummer, great drums. So it's like with everything, you know, the better you play, the better you record, the easier it is to mix. Okay, then I always start with a kick. Okay, let's see how the kick sounds. So now I'm having a kick and the room. I usually keep the room because I want to hear the in the context, and then I check the phase. Yeah, they are in phase, because when I switched them out of phase, it became weaker. Okay, let's do some EQing with the kick. Okay, sounds pretty good for now. Maybe it was a little bit boomy. Let's just cut the deepest low end. And then let me solo this because I need to adjust the gate because I feel there's a lot of stuff coming from the kick track. There's a bit of leakage, but it's so quiet. And what's cool with the Softtube's dynamic section, so this punch, this is actually from Softtube's transient shaper, so you can add punch. The sustain is kind of like a expander, so you can make the kick, well, a little bit different than a gate expander, so it kind of makes it makes it a little bit more, it sounds a little bit longer, so you can make a kick bigger, really good, okay? Cool, then let's bring in the snare top. Cool, it starts to sound pretty cool, the kick and snare, so when I added the low end, felt it was a little bit sounding, so then I just cut it away, some low mids and just boosted highs. So for this is a little bit compression to make it a little bit, you know, slow attack, fast release, and gating the some extra stuff away. Then let's actually solo the snare bottom and let's see what we have there. Okay, basic drums, kick and snare. The room is quite loud now, but I think, if I remember correct, on the original mix, the room was really loud. Okay, then the toms, where there isn't much toms. I'm gonna do the usual. Let's see how it works without even listening. So what I usually do is boost some. First tom, let's put 100 and let's cut the 80 hertz. Let's cut like 15 dBs. Usually with toms, the kind of boxiness is around 80 hertz. So then let's just add a huge high shelf boost. I'm gonna do this to these all. The second tom is probably, let's go around 100. Let's add a tiny amount. And again, well, it's usually I have my tom channel set like this, so maybe let's keep it on the 80 and then take the Q at 2.5. Let's actually do similar to this. Tom 3, that's a bit lower, so I'm boosting 75. This is a little bit guessing, but I've been doing this for quite a few times. I just boost whatever, you know, 12, 13 dBs. 75, this low tom, let's put that to 60. A couple of dB, that's really big tom what he has, so I don't think we need much low end boost. And let's put the same 2.5 Q, 80 hertz. Let's do the 15 and then 6K boost. All right, let's see where there's the tom feels. There's a couple. Let's see how it sounds. Okay, the input gain is quite low now, so I need to gain stage a little bit. Let's see the first tom. he's hitting the floor tones really hard, so no need to boost anything. But I think the first and second tom, you know, was a little bit. Yeah. And then let's stick with the toms a little bit. I feel they need a little bit. I think I used this one on the tom bass. Where was the tom fill there? Let's just use the same. Yeah, you hear what the compressor really like this on drum. It wasn't doing much, but it was kind of just highlighting. You know, a 10 millis. Actually, the attack could be probably. Let's try with a 15. Yeah, now they really pop out, and maybe I'll just. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, now we have the toms. Then let's check out the hi-hat. Where there is a hi-hat. Is he playing here? A little bit of sound, okay? Let's see a little bit compression to kind of make it a bit more, I don't know, in control. Okay, cool. Overhead left and right, I'm not gonna do anything, I'm just gonna check the gain staging. Yeah, just got a little bit of the boxiness and low cuts in its cymbals. There's, I don't, maybe I'll just. It's cool to have a little bit low end, but just cut the mud there, and I don't think it needs any compression. The room bass I already checked. Let's see how the drums sound. Yeah, they're cool, they're great, but I'm gonna make them even better and beefier by adding parallel drum channel. What I have there, I guess I already showed this to you. Well, it says Alex drum parallel, but this is pretty much the settings I use. Attack 10, recovery 100, ratio 2:1, so on. And then Pultec EQ, adding 30 Hz, 5 dB, attenuation 5 kilo, 5, little smiley face. So I'm gonna blend that in now so you'll hear what that does. Cool. And as I can see, I'm blending a little bit kick to the reverb. Just kind of throw that everything glues together. A little bit snare bottom, some toms, the tom bass, a little bit overheads, and a little bit more room so that the room is even bigger. I like big sound, big, sounding drums, big room sounds. Yeah, the drums are so far, I think they are, we can continue. So then let's move on to bass. So this is a DI track. On the original mix, I actually used the Sansamp Tech 21, the Jerry Lee, but I also recorded DI because I always also use this one as my clanky sound. So there's no low end, it's just treble boosted. And I've been using a lot actually on the latest Cyhra songs, which we recorded and I have mixed, which will be on the album. I've used the Jens Bogren's bass knob, which is really cool. So let me bypass these all and let's just listen to the bass knob. It's a DI bass sound. Yeah, the bass sounds cool. I usually like to blend in a little bit of the Dimension D chorus. As you hear, listen when I take it off. It's very subtle, but instead that, because now the kick and the bass are like this. With the Dimension D, I make the bass a little bit, so the kick is like woof, and I want the bass to be a little bit wider too. So that is that, because this is a stereo channel, this bass, these are mono channels. All right, then guitars. There's 4 rhythm guitar tracks, 2 left and right with the bad boy, the Marshall Chase Mayari, 2 with a 5150. Let's first try to start with the Marshalls, and we recorded this at summer, and to be honest, I don't remember if I used my cabinet or if I used Jens Bogren IRs, because I've been mostly, I use usually on rhythm guitars pretty much always a real cabinet, and then on melody guitars I use a lot of the Jens Bogren IRs, but it might be so that I probably, if I remember correctly, I think I use IRs on this one from the down tube back, because these guitars are tuned down to B flat. So let's listen to the rhythm guitars first. The Marshall. yeah, it starts to develop. So I think I used Bugren IRs on the guitars. I mean, the amps were real amps into Cyhra's reactive load, but I really didn't do anything. I mean, a little bit of presence and parallel compression kind of make them a little bit more forward. Usually with cabinets and with SM57, there's usually a little hunk around 500 and 2.5K, but these sound really good because the Jens Bugren's IRs are kind of mix ready, so he has pretty much done the work for me and for us. By the way, if you're interested in those, use my affiliate link in the description below, or code Euge 230. You can get a 10% discount of all Bugren products. I mean, they're really good. I use his IRs a lot, usually on leads and melodies and the real cabinet for rhythms, because real cabinet is always a little, well, I need to do more, but then I'm driving the car, so I decide what to do. But I think these were from the Downtune pack. No idea what it was, because usually I just scroll that, yeah, this works, good, I'll use that. If it sounds good, it's good. Great. Then a lead guitar. So what we have here, there's the intro lead. Apparently it's, I think I need to do a little bit of this, because there's a harmony, and then there's, yeah, left and right harmony, center guitars. All right, let's see what we got. Yeah, you know, when you record and play really well, when I record, when I produce another band, when I produce, you know, our own music, Cyhra, when I record, I'm trying to capture the sound, that this is the sound, that I don't believe in fix it in the mix thing. I want to capture the sound that we're gonna actually use. And as you can see, it's pretty close. I don't remember what amp I use on this one, but it sounds a little bit smoother than the Bad Boy, but it's still, I think it's the Zakk Wildhead. Let's listen to them in solo. I don't know. I think I use mostly these three 800s, and then for the rhythms I pair it with something else, and then whatever I feel. I'm pretty sure this is Zakk Wildhead into Cyhra reactive load with my signature IR Valovirta from Jens Lead and Clean pack. And you know, like, let's cut it everything out, because there's rhythm guitars and bass, so this doesn't need a low end. It was just muddying things. So everything, you know, 100 hertz off, a little bit 8K boost like usual, 8K, and no parallel compression, just regular compression, slow attack, fast release, just a tiny amount, so it makes it a little bit more forward. Great. Let's see the lead guitar. They are on the same. So I'm doing the processing on these buses. It's way faster and easier and simpler to me. And I added a little bit of the soft tubes tape echo, which I have on my effect aux, tracks there. Let's check out the leads. Yeah, so I added a little bit of eventide, this one, to make it a little bit wider and also a little bit kind of louder and more in your face. The lead starts with these two harmonic guitars, then it continues with this one, and then there's again the two harmonic guitars. And without the eventide, I felt that the main guitar here, it was a little bit, trampled underfoot. But it wasn't popping too much. But with the eventide, it was popping. Okay, melodic guitars. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, I mean, the basic structure is starting to take shape. Drums, bass, rhythm guitars, lead guitars, melody guitars, and then keyboards. Jake usually does the keyboards and strings to our songs. Sometimes we've used outside professionals, but mostly it's Jake. I do sometimes a little bit, and usually when Jake sends stuff to me, he sends me all the keyboard strings, whatever files individually, and then also a kind of stereo mix stem, like how he kind of visions them. And since me and Jake were the main producers of this song and on the forthcoming Cyhra album in general, you know, we discussed about this and we had demos and ideas. I don't remember, but I think I used just the stereo file also on the actual mix. But now what I have, it's just a stereo file. For some reason, it looks like mono, that there's only one, but so I just, you know, imported this. So, but let's actually listen what it is. Yeah, it's a stereo file. Okay, so there's some piano, some rhythmic stuff. What I usually do, I usually use a Tegeler Audio's Schwerkraft machine, like hardware tube multi-band compressor. There's many compressors you can do, but I really like the multi-band. But it's now in maintenance because, you know, tube stuff sometimes. I'm just gonna use a Softube's Dromer multi-band compressor on this one because this is a stereo, you know, stem of the keys, so there's lots of different stuff. So this I'm gonna actually work on solo now. So let's see, can we make this? Let's actually listen it without what there is. I don't remember. vocals. The way I do vocals is usually I have my main vocals with the doubles and stuff going to a bass, and then backing vocals to bass, and then this is altar boy. This little altar boy effect, which you can really shape the sound. It sounds really nasty on its own, but we'll see what that does. So let's check out the vocals now first.
Promises we kept is easy to forget, like poems in a pantomime. Oh, try to resurrect a feeling so far-fetched we stumble on a point in time. Bring us what you've got, get ready to rumble. Head to toe through, let it out. Are you ready to rumble? Speed it up till afterglow.
It's good here. There's verse vocals, chorus main, chorus B. The reason they are on the separate tracks because they go a little bit like this, so they are on the separate tracks. And Jake is a really good singer. I mean, he uses really good microphone, new preamp, a little bit compression on the way in. As you can see, that it's really, you know, when you record, when you make that the sound is good when you record. But usually I have this processing. It sounds quite a lot, but it all makes sense. So first I have the EQ. I like the MAG EQ on vocals. So let's see what we can do with this. And it's in the bus, so just, you know, save CPUs that I don't have to do this to the all, because they all go here, and, you know, there's usually one or two at the same time, so the compressor settings, and they're not, you know, effed up.
Easy to forget, like poems in a pantomime. Oh, try to resurrect a feeling so far-fetched we stumble on a point in time. Bring us what you've got, get ready to rumble. Head to toe through vertigo, let it out. Are you ready to?
Adding a little bit, I like the air gain on the MAG, and then a little bit lower mids to make it, you know, a bit powerful. Yeah, I think it's, you know, it sounds really good on its own, so I don't really.
Go, let it out. Are you ready to rumble? Speed it up till afterglow.
Yeah, it has a certain weight to his voice. Then I have a vocal rider, even though this is, you know, as you can see from the waveform, that it's recorded with a compressor, which I think it's good if you know what you're doing, so you're not over compressing it. It helps a lot. This is really good. With this one, I don't need to do that much of actual vocal writing, but because this does it, so.
Head to toe through vertigo, let it out. Are you ready to rumble? Speed it up till afterglow. Time is now. Are you ready to rumble? Let it out. One more time. Hear me out. Oh.
Okay, that B vocal is really loud, but the way I said it, that it's, you know, it peaks there, and then you see.
Easy to forget, like poems in a pantomime. Oh, try to resurrect a feeling so far-fetched we stumble on a point in time. Easy to forget, like poems in a pantomime. Oh, try to resurrect a feeling.
But now you can hear it kind of comes and goes. Alone it sounded like, yeah, it's flat, but it's not, because it disappears. It needs to be quite compressed with these dense mixes. So what we're gonna do.
Easy to forget, like poems in a pantomime. Oh, try to resurrect a feeling so far-fetched we stumble on a point in time. Bring us what you've got, get ready to rumble. Head to toe through vertigo, let it out. Are you ready to rumble? Speed it up till afterglow. Time is now. Are you ready to rumble? Let it out. kept is easy to forget, like poems in a phantom mind. Oh, try to resurrect a feeling so far-fetched we stumble on a point in time. Bring us what you've got, get ready to rumble.
So de-esser, because I'm adding this EQ, 2 compressors, so 76, which is 1176. I like this CLA Bluey, really fast. And then this is usually my setting. I mix into this. It's like this. We'll get into that if I need to change this, what I do, if this isn't enough. And then this kind of smoothens it up. It's like a LA2A, but it's just Summit Audio's GLA 100 and Soft2 plugin. And then I like to add some overdrive to Jake's vocals. So it's my, basic setting. I'm just kind of boosting 8K and basically adding overdrive. And then it's really dry now. So let's see. This is my go-to vocal echo plugin.
Promises we kept is easy to forget, like poems in a phantom mind. Oh, try to resurrect a feeling so far-fetched we stumble on a point in time. Bring us what you've got, get ready to rumble. Head to toe through vertigo, let it out, are you ready to rumble? Speed it up till afterglow. Forget, like poems in a phantom mind. Oh, try to resurrect a feeling so far-fetched we stumble on a point in time. Bring us what you've got, get ready to rumble. Head to toe through vertigo, let it out, are you ready to rumble? Speed it up till afterglow. Time is now, are you ready?
I need to balance the individual vocal levels, and I added the parallel compression, which is tube check, EQ, pull check again, smiley face, lows and highs, and then tube check, compressor, and the order is compressor and then the EQ. You can change the order. So it just adds a little bit of weight and low end and, makes it more forward. But if I remember correct, I think Jake, the vocals were really in balance, but I bounced this off completely dry from my mixing Cubase session where I originally mixed this. I think I've something happened with the gain stages, because some of them are quite a bit louder than the others. So let's just figure out the panning, the balance between them.
Promises we kept is easy to forget, like poems in a phantom mind. Try to resurrect a feeling so far-fetched we stumble on a point in time. Bring us what you've got, get ready to rumble. Promises we kept is easy to forget, like poems in a phantom mind. Oh, try to resurrect a feeling so far-fetched stumble on a point in time. Bring us what you've got, get ready to rumble. Head to toe through vertigo, let it out, are you ready to rumble? Speed it up till afterglow. Time is now, are you ready to rumble? Let it out, one more time. Hear me out. Are you? Silence brings effect and dreams we all project. Your tongue is not a friend of mine. Oh.
Okay. These vocals, they don't line up, but it's the same same, you know, let's see if the verse actually, the chorus matches. Okay, they don't match, so I'm just gonna delete these, because if I would now mix this for real, I would just need to cut, because maybe Jake, I guess he sang, because we extended, or did we shorten something? Well, in this case, we extended, because now the vocals were too early or too late. So this is probably from the first version, but I didn't realize. There's one lead melody, then there's some stems, and then you know, lead vocal lead and lead vocal dub. This is a stereo track where he just doubled the vocals, and you know, in chorus there's a lot more stuff going on, melodies, keyboards. It's cool to have a little bit more vocals. Now let's see the backing vocals. Again, with backing vocals, Jake usually sends me the kind of the stereo mix, how he kind of, you know, planned them, and then he sends me the separate ones if I want to change them or do something to them individually. So what Jake does and what I always pretty much end up doing, the lower harmonies are on the, you know, sides, and the higher the harmony goes, the closer it goes to the center, but it's not never center, because there needs to be the parking space for the lead vocals in the center. And then the harmonies are kind of side there. Why the lows on the sides? Well, because we already have kick and bass, sometimes snare. On this snare there's kind of a lot of poof. So it's crowded. The parking spaces are reserved. So on the sides, because there's guitar, which are pretty much mids. So the low vocals, they have room. They have parking spaces on the sides, and then it goes kind of like the other way around. And with the instruments, because with the instruments, kick, bass, then it goes wider. Toms, guitars, it goes, you know, less bottom, more mids, more cymbals are, like you see, I have them panned always hard left, hard right, hi-hat, hard left. If this would have a right track, it would be hard. Right track would be hard right, but since there isn't, but since Alex plays so balanced, I mean, you know, the hi-hat track is barely open, because it's everything is in the overheads and rooms. They're so well balanced. With the drums, it's really important that you know what you're doing. It's so much easier to mix them. Okay, let's check out the harmony vocals, what we have. So on this one, I just decided that I will use the stereo kind of stem, you know, comp that I got from Jake.
Till afterglow, time is now. Are you ready to rumble? Head to toe through vertigo. Let it out. Are you ready to rumble? Speed it up till afterglow. Time is now. Are you ready to rumble? Head to toe through vertigo. Let it out. Are you ready to rumble? Speed it up till afterglow. Time is now. Are you ready to rumble? Head to toe through vertigo. Let it out. Are you ready to rumble? Speed it up till afterglow. Time is now. Are you ready to rumble? Head to toe through vertigo. Let it out. Are you ready to rumble? Speed it up till afterglow. Time is now. Are you ready to rumble? Head to toe through vertigo. Let it out. Are you ready to rumble? Speed it up till afterglow. Time is now. Are you ready to rumble? Head to toe through vertigo. Let it out. Are you ready to rumble? Speed it up till afterglow. Time is now. Are you ready to rumble? Head to toe through vertigo. Let it out. Are you ready to rumble? Speed it up till afterglow. Time is now. Are you ready to rumble? Head to toe through vertigo.
if these compressors, like I said earlier, are not enough, I needed to make this. The volume wasn't kind of doing it. I mean, obviously, I could actually do this.
Let it out. Are you ready to rumble? Speed it up to afterglow. Time is now. Are you ready to rumble? Let it out. Ready to rumble. Hear me out. Are you ready to rumble?
Now there should have been the second verse. Okay, well, they are about that, and then the altar boy vocals. So they're these kind of effed up vocals.
Let it all through vertigo. Let it out. Are you ready to rumble? Speed it up to afterglow. Time is now. Are you ready to rumble? Let it out. Ready to rumble. One more time. Ready to rumble. Hear me out. Ready to rumble. Are you ready to rumble? Let it all through vertigo. Let it out. Are you ready to rumble? Speed it up to afterglow. Time is now. Are you ready to rumble? Let it out. Ready to rumble. One more time. Ready to rumble. Hear me out. Ready to rumble. Oh, let it all through vertigo. Let it out. Are you ready to rumble? Speed it up to afterglow. Time is now. Are you ready to rumble? Let it out. Ready to rumble. One more time. Ready to rumble. Hear me out. Ready to rumble. Are you ready to rumble? Head to toe through vertigo. Let it out. Are you ready to rumble? Speed it up to afterglow. Time is now. Are you ready to rumble? Let it out. Ready to rumble. One more time. Ready to rumble. Hear me out. Ready to rumble. Are you ready to rumble?
This is kind of like now it's a static mix, so there's no automation or anything. Let's listen it now. Actually, let's listen to this because there's no other vocals after that. How is where we are? So yeah, I did a little bit of automation. What I usually do when the guitar solo came, I took off the rhythm guitars a little bit, and right now this isn't finished. So, but I think this video is already quite long, and hopefully you get the idea. So now it sounds quite balanced. The kick drum maybe could be a punchier, so I will probably continue tweaking a little bit, do automation, maybe always when the chorus starts, the first chords with the guitars and bass a little bit louder. And now, since I was kind of missing the lead vocals, I think I imported the wrong versions vocal tracks. So obviously I would then need to see the balance, and would I need to do some vocal automation with the faders and so on. But this is kind of the procedure how I do. I usually try to get the mix kind of static mix done, like just trusting my gut feeling and what I usually do, what works, and then start to get into deeper, like small edits, maybe delay throws to vocals, and sometimes guitars, maybe some panning things to make it more interesting. If we come to a conclusion about how to produce a good sounding, I mean, what sounds good, what sounds bad, that's in the ear of the beholder. But in general, one, you need to play your instrument well. Good player will sound good no matter the gear. Bad player will sound bad no matter the gear. If you want tight guitars, play good, play tight. If you're sloppy, you're not playing really well. It will sound like they're not being played really well and sloppy. That's the most important thing. Learn the instrument. The second is capture with the mindset that this is gonna be the sound. Like, try your best, spend as long time as it needs so that you get the sound to be, because many of us, at least me as a songwriter, producer, when I'm writing the song, I kind of already hear it, how it sounds, how I want it to sound. Like, when I'm dialing a sound, that's why I don't have any settings. It changes from song to song, and what I hear in my head. Then when I got it, okay, this is it. Then I record that. Then when everything is really well recorded, it's a lot easier to mix. The links to the streaming services where you can download or stream in the description below, and the link to the official video, it's on Nuclear Blast, our record label's YouTube channel. Go check that out, and follow Cyhra on Instagram, Facebook. We have our own new website, www.cyhra.com, where there's info about about tours and new releases and so on. Hey, I know it was a bit long. Hopefully you maybe even learned something and at least get some ideas and thoughts, and you got a glimpse to my workflow, what I do. But thanks for watching. Hey, all the best. See you on the next one. Take care. Bye.